Hello, everyone. Welcome to MindBody TV. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo. I'm really grateful to be here today with this really intense time in the world. And as I've been speaking about over the last several months, we're given this opportunity. Will we choose to live from love, or will we continue to live in fear? It's a bold choice. It's a brave choice. It's one that, as a physician, I've seen to be the number one most essential piece that will determine your health and your well-being. And we're faced with this choice every day. We've been faced with this choice every moment, but right now in the world, it's coming up really intensely. And so our topic today, to move beyond duality, is really, it stemmed from the awareness that so many of us are living in the right and wrong, good and bad, the duality, the mind. There's two hemispheres of the brain, left and right. There's one heart. The heart is a unified organ. And in the mind, there's two ways of seeing everything. There's a right and a wrong, a good and a bad, black and white, lesser than, greater than. And we're all beginning to see the pain of buying into that as the true reality. Is that the true reality? What about unity? The truth is that's higher than this. We are all connected. We are one. And when we choose harmony, harmony is what's created in the world, as within, so without. In duality, these are separate, outside, inside. They have nothing to do with each other. But in truth, and we've seen in science that this is actually the truth of who we are. We are not purely physical. We are vibrational. We are pure energy. Our thoughts do have an effect on the physical material world, including our cells and our DNA, including everyone around us. As within, so without. So how can we allow and ignite a change in the world by shifting what's happening in us? And this is what we will talk about today, moving beyond duality, creating from your truth and from unity, and moving into a higher consciousness beyond, that where you live in the knowing that we are all connected and live in the space of your own power. So emerging beyond duality for the holidays, because of course the holidays are a time that can bring all of this up like nothing else. So welcome. I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from in the world. And hello to everybody who is watching the recording or listening to the podcast. We're here every week at 11 a.m. Mountain on Wednesdays. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo. For those of you who don't know me, I am a physician. I was trained in emergency medicine, critical care medicine, trauma, but having always been very intuitive, I have had the ability to read people's energy, to know what's going on in their body, and to understand the cause and source of disease in a way that can allow people to shift that. And science has shown us the body can shift really quickly, physically, cellularly, and at the level of our DNA in very significant ways. And so I have transformed my entire practice of medicine to focus on that and to ignite this healing for myself and others. So hello, Liam from New York. Danielle from Alvin, Texas, and thank you so much for being here. Anne, Elaine Webb from British Columbia, Ellen from Toronto, Linda from England. Oh, we've got a lot of people from Canada. Anna from Toronto, someone in Facebook from Wisconsin. Thanks, Cindy. Wednesday is my favorite, from Seattle. Candace in Delaware. Alana from Missouri. I want to say a special hello to Gemma, my daughter, who's here. David from Quebec. Mary from Georgia. Nino, thank you for being here. And someone in Facebook from England. Carolyn from Australia. Okay, great. Welcome to all the people coming in. I myself am in Durango, Colorado. It's beautiful here. I'm so grateful to be in these beautiful mountains in such a serene, peaceful place. So I want to share the love in my heart and the peace in my heart with everyone who's here today, or everyone who's listening to this in the future. I just got off a beautiful group call with the Integrative Medicine Club at the medical school that I attended in Maine with a group of really, really beautiful women who are so aware that there's a higher way to do things, and they're open to exploring and to looking and to being curious about what's actually true, what's actually going to create the most for my patients, the most in medicine, the most for humanity in general, and are willing to be really, really courageous and think outside the box, because it does take immense courage to think outside the lines of what we're told is real and is true. But this is actually what this topic today is about, is how do we go outside those lines of what we've been taught is true, what we've been taught to think, and who we've been taught to be, so that we can actually emerge in the truth of who we are. Who actually am I? I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. I'm an infinite being. I have access to infinite awareness and infinite intelligence, but I must open to let that in. And if I'm falling within the lines of how I'm supposed to be, who I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do, what's appropriate and not appropriate, I can't know any of the stuff that's beyond that. So when people, especially people who work with me privately, they're like, how could you know this? And there's all these truths that have happened. And they're like, yes, how could you possibly know that? And it's because I allow myself to remember that we are one and we are connected, and we can let information in that goes beyond what we would know if we were just a physical separate being. How could I know what's going on with someone on the other side of the world? How could I know what's happening within a person's body? How could I know if I haven't put my hands on someone, what's going on within their body? Well, I let myself access this. And it's actually, from the perspective of quantum science, very easy to explain, because we are not separate. Information is constantly being exchanged. So if you soften your body right now, as we begin this broadcast, soften physically, just take a breath, because that does allow softening and opening mentally and emotionally. You'll be able to receive a lot more here today. Okay, so welcome to everyone who has just joined us. From the Netherlands, Ma Anand, and hello, Jennifer, Laura, JP, another person from England. All right. So what is duality? Duality, when we perceive things from the mind, this is the separation. I'm a physical being. I'm separate from everyone else. You're over there. I'm over here. There's good. There's bad. There's right. There's wrong. There's lesser. There's greater. Everything is in comparison to everything else because it's separate. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast, the brain has two hemispheres, left and right. Left is analytical. So we're going to focus. There's like math and science, and this is the linear world of what is. The right brain is the feeling and sensing, and it can move into the unknown, the artistic, the creative. In order to be creative, you've got to be in the unknown, because unless you're already making what's already being created, what already exists, which is not creation, that's, this can't apply, right? How can it be creative if it isn't something that doesn't already exist? If you're going to make something that already exists, it's not creation. You created a replica of that, and your replica didn't exist. But as far as you created something new that hasn't existed yet, it has to be that you entered into the unknown, that which did not already exist. So that is really the realm of the right brain. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. When we're willing to rectify duality and enter neutrality, which is, I embrace all of it as it is. It is all beautiful and sacred. See, this is very different. How can that thing be beautiful and sacred? It's wrong and it's bad and we have to fight it. So I've talked about this for several years now, and I have a great video on my YouTube channel about the octaves of consciousness. These are the 3 stages of awakening. We're actually in these vibrations. It's a vibration will affect your brain, what you think, what you perceive, how you see the world. And when you come into a higher frequency vibration, you see the world in a very different way. And so these 3 octaves of consciousness are really important when we want to understand what are we really, and what is reality, and what is really true. So in the lower frequencies, I'm separate. It's victim. Life is happening to me. And this victim consciousness, I had a couple ways notes I wrote down about this that are really helpful for us to understand. When we're in victim, excuse me, when we're in victimhood, and this is disillusionment, right? It's not true that you're separate. It's not true that you're powerless. It's not true that you're at cause. This is going to happen and I guess I'm just not lucky. But when we live it as though it's true, we experience life that way, right? I got cancer. My husband left me. I got fired or I lost my job. This happened to me. So it's victim, even though that might be a hard word to hear, like I'm not a victim. But we all play there in some way at some time in our lives. Like, life is happening to me. My little baby came in today and said, the little thing on his truck broke. So I'm so sad. And then my husband fixed it and he goes, oh, now I'm so happy. And it's a funny thing, right? Like this thing happened, I feel sad. This thing happened, I feel happy. I am at cause to life. Life is happening and I am at cause. So we kind of move up in consciousness and begin to realize, wait a minute, I'm actually participating. If I decide that it's all okay as it is, I feel better. If I decide that it's all shit and this shouldn't be this way and it's all wrong, I feel worse. I feel more powerless. If I decide I'm powerless, I can't really make changes in my life. If I decide I'm powerful, I can have an impact, right? So like, whoa, I'm a co-creator. We come into that second octave, where I realize I am having an impact on life and on what's happening. But in this second octave, which we're going to call positivity. So the first one is like disillusionment, victimhood. The second one is positivity / go-getter. Now I've got a purpose. I am a co-creator and I'm going to, be positive and not be negative, because if I'm on the positive side of things will work out for me. Still in duality, but it's a much higher consciousness than victim, where you either get it or you don't. I guess I'm not lucky. Oh, I guess I am lucky, right? I'm at cause. So this is a higher consciousness, is more empowerment, but still not actually peace. Because now I got to make sure I get away from those negative people. I got to make sure I don't do these bad things. Don't have any negative thoughts because it will create cancer. Now I'm kind of running from the dragon. So that is where we're at in that second octave, or that second frequency. We play around in there. And what happens for a lot of people who find my work is they're actually playing around in there for a while and they come to the realization, this is not actually peace. Yes, I have an effect. I've got to be positive. I've got to try harder. I've got to learn more. I've got to get more conscious, but I'm still trying to get somewhere and I never am actually there. And this is where I really had a huge awakening. And I realized I either have to really embody the work that I'm teaching or keep trying to teach it, keep trying to change the world. So when we remember, be the change that you wish to see, this is when we step into that third octave. And that third octave is neutrality. We are beyond the good and bad, right and wrong. We can be at peace with what is as it is. We can be in peace unconditionally. Now, I am not claiming to live in eternal, unconditional peace at every moment of my life, but I guess I'm 99.9999% at peace with what is. And if there are little blips that throw me off, I'm really conscious of them. And instead of going into, I've got to change that, or I've got to make sure that doesn't happen, I'm immediately able to neutralize it, because it's practice. You learn and you realize wow, everything really is a reflection of me. Now, how does that apply? So this is in neutrality, I've actually got to be an infinite receiver, right? Because as soon as I'm like, no, that's bad and it's wrong, I'm bumping it out. I'm rejecting. And this is one of the things I've learned about choosing to be in neutrality, which is where I have the most power. Neutrality is not resignation, right? I guess I can't make a difference, so I might as well just be happy with it. That is not neutrality. That's actually victimhood. Neutrality is I choose to see everything that is perfectly acceptable to me. I can be with what is and be at peace. Now, when I do this, I have more power. I have more energy. I have more clarity, and I can take really directive and impactful action, right? So neutrality is not, oh, I guess everything is as it is, so I might as well just sit here and do nothing. Empowerment and neutrality actually allows you to be the power that changes everything. That is the choice that I'm inviting you into today. Is neutrality acceptance? Yes, because what is. And when we embrace it as it is, we have energy to change it. We have the inspiration and the clarity of what could be done differently or what could be done to make a difference. But what I see so many people doing is coming from that second octave or like the first stage where they're like fighting against things. They're like, we've got to make sure everyone else knows this. You know, right now in the world, there are two major differing opinions of what's going on and what should be done. One is, I'm not going to talk specifically in a political way because that's just not what I'm doing. But one gives more freedom to the authority and one gives more freedom to the individual. And it's neither right or wrong. It's a matter of what's your truth. But to stand in your truth doesn't mean you make the other guy wrong and make sure that everyone knows your way so that the world goes in your way and we all win. Because both sides think that. They both think their way is the right way. This is why I wanted to bring the topic today. Because until we can be peace, which requires embracing what is as it is and allowing people to make a choice different from the one you make, you can't generate peace. You can't have peace in the world. You can't contribute to peace. Peace gets created through us. And a lot of people are in the space of like, no, we first have to fight so we can have peace. But that actually, you can't have peace until you create peace. And you can't create peace anywhere other than right here now. In your body now, in this now moment we are in, and in whatever now moment you're in as you're watching this, or whatever now moment you will be in the future. That's the only time you can access your power. And for those of you who know my work, especially with the Instant Elevation program, it's all about accessing your power by connecting with your body. Your body can only live in the now. It can't live in the future. It can't live in the past. It can't live outside of you. It can only live in the now. And when you bring yourself to the now, because you're willing to be in your body and actually feel what you're feeling, heavy or light, you can access your power. Yes, and someone says, but racism is wrong. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. Can I let someone hold a perspective like racism? Okay, so they hold a perspective. Some people are good and some people are bad because of their race. Okay. Do I have to fight them? Do I have to show them? Do I have to make them change? I have to make them see it differently before I could be at peace. That's where we go wrong. So I could actually be at peace with the fact that there are racists in the world right now. Can I be at peace now? Or am I waiting for that to change? That's the biggest difference and where there's a lack of power. So if I can't be at peace, I can't bring peace. I can't create peace, no matter what actions I take. So I could eradicate all racism on the planet. But if I can't embody peace, I haven't actually created a more peaceful world. And other things will get created in its place, you know, in the place of that thing I eradicated. So I am not a racist. Okay, I mean, probably you're aware of that. I do my best to let everyone have their own freedom. But that includes people who are racist. They have this belief and they think they're right. That's what they believe to be true. This is what I believe to be true. They get to be just as free as I get to be. That doesn't mean I'm going to advocate for what they're doing. It doesn't mean I'm going to give them energy. It doesn't mean I'm going to tell them it's a good thing. It means that I'm going to create peace anyway. It means that I'm going to stand in a space that I live in a beautiful world in this moment. So even though XYZ exists, can I be at peace? That's when I can enter neutrality. That is the only way I can invite others to be in peace, to not be racist. That's the only way I can actually ignite change. Terry from Grand Valley, Ontario, Canada, I've been listening to for over a year. And with last week's broadcast plus this one, I feel like I'm finally getting it. Thanks so much for what you do. Oh, that's really beautiful. Thank you so much. I've had a lot of people who I've worked with that will say that, like, wow, I thought I got it, and now I really got it. So just keep tuning in little by little, because every day we awaken. I'm not at peace with it, but I accept it and accept I can't change them, and be at peace with myself. And that, yeah, be at peace with yourself, that you're softening around the hardness. The hardness is, I can't rest until all of them are gone or changed. And that won't actually create expansion for anyone. Katrina, do we need to know exactly where the uncomfortable feeling comes from? If it's another person's energy we picked up or something else? Not necessarily. Nope. Just tune into what you feel in your body and breathe, because the clarity will come if it needs to come, or the energy will just move. Anne said, I love the idea of practicing into neutrality. This feels softer than I have to work hard to let go or get over my old patterns. Yeah, because you know what I realized? I read the book, read the book maybe a year ago. Lies my teacher told me. And it was about the history of the United States, that the fabricated history that we learn as Westerners, like, this is history as we learn it. And what you realize is, like, we, meaning, came over from Europe, established America, did X, Y, and Z. We are always the good guys. So yeah, like, we massacred and killed people, but hey, it was for a good cause, because, like, we knew better and we need to settle America. Oh, we brought all these Africans over to work as our slaves, but that was okay, because we had to have people take care of our fields and grow the food. Like, we had no choice. Everything was from this Eurocentric perspective. Now, I didn't fully buy into the history as I learned it. I always thought, wait, like, we totally massacred these people. How are we letting ourselves get away with this? Like, it was okay. And the way I teach my daughter what happened is very different. But we did learn this Eurocentric perspective. And then I realized, like, wow, I'm the white supremacist. I'm the one who has seen the world as if the Europeans were, like, the best and smartest and came over and we were the savior to the world and settled this world. And now we've done this great thing. I'm not saying I bought into the idea of white supremacy. Like, I am not saying that. I'm just saying, like, any way that I saw the Westerners as the center of the universe. And that was like, we were conditioned. We were taught this. We were brainwashed into seeing it this way. I looked at, like, what are the little threads I could pull that let this whole quilt dissolve, where I have seen this as the center, right? Like, from the African's perspective, history would be told in an entirely different way. So I, like, actively dissolved any ways that I unconsciously bought into the perspective I was taught as, like, the history of the world, because I knew, like, that's how it gets created. So no matter which side of the equation someone's on, they truly, truly believe that they're right. And they truly, truly believe that the other guy is bad. The other guy is wrong. And that's why I wanted to talk today about neutrality. Can I be at peace and let everyone have their perspective, even if their perspective differs from me? Like, right now, people may be making medical choices that you wouldn't make. And they may be people you really care about. And it creates disturbance in you. I can't let her do that thing or not do that thing. And you're the one experiencing the distress. You got to look back at yourself. The only fear you can eradicate is the fear that lives in you. The only evil you can eradicate is the evil that lives in you. But that is what creates peace on earth in way, way bigger ways than you would imagine. You're way more powerful than you could imagine. So it's not insignificant. Nino said, though I totally perceive myself as a significantly awakened individual, I lost it the other day and realized how vulnerable I still am to losing my presence during intense, highly charged moments. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I've had the same moments too. And I shared a few weeks ago about, I've never been a political person in my life. And in this election, I was a lot more involved of, like, having a preference. And I remember the day of the election realizing that attachment, because I realized for the first time, like, if the person I think should win doesn't win, I would feel uncomfortable. And that's when I was like, wait a freaking minute, because I know our savior is not outside ourselves. It's not about the right person getting elected into office and then everything will be okay. Like, no. I have always known our government is a reflection of us. Our government will reflect the consciousness we as a society are in. And it will always be true no matter who gets elected. So I had that awareness, like, no. It's not outside you, Kim. Your peace is inevitable. Your prosperity is inevitable. You can choose to prosper in any situation. But you know, this is what's happening, is this intensity is bringing out all the ways we buy into the idea that it's outside us. So it's an awesome opportunity to clear those last little nooks and crannies of where you lose your presence, like has said. Met Louise from Copenhagen. Thank you for being here. Choi Sim from the Netherlands. Someone in Facebook says, sorry, I have a really hard time swallowing this idea that I can be at peace with what is when it comes to things like racism. Interesting that racism is coming up so much. Saying that a white woman feels drenched in privilege. Maybe it's just not explained in a way I can understand. So it is as it is. These things exist in the world. And I'm not saying we don't make change and we don't share what we know to be true. I'm saying we don't share it from a point of non-peace. We don't share it from duality. Because as soon as we're in separation, we're actually feeding the thing that we're against. And it can only, the change can only happen when we reside in neutrality. So can I understand how someone buys into a limiting idea, like the idea that someone else is less? Yeah, I can understand that. Because when we're in duality, it's all about less and better. I'm going to be a better person, right? Better than who? Better than your former self, better than your neighbor. All these ways, when we live in duality, it's all about that. We don't call it racism, but it's all about black and white, better and worse, right and wrong. So no matter where you're residing, if you're in that second or first or second octave, you're in separation and you're actually contributing to the problem or contributing to the thing that you're trying to fight. So like as a doctor, if I go and fight disease, we're going to fight your diabetes, we're going to fight your cancer. What am I creating in your body? Gross inflammation, which is exactly what creates diabetes and cancer. So we can't actually fight against anything. We can only stand for what it is we want to create, which is harmony, love, peace, freedom, joy, expansion, expression, passion. Like all of these things reside in that third octave. They don't reside anywhere else. So might as well take a breath with whatever comes up. So just do this now, whether it's your family, whether it's the holidays, will we get sick? Whether it's, oh God, I got to go do all the shopping. I'm not good enough. Whatever comes up for you in this moment. Or for many, it's like this idea of racism. How can I be okay if other people feel and think like that? So I just want you to just get a little soften around that conclusion. Just soften your physical body, because this will be what softens you mentally and emotionally as well. So just start with your physical body and breathe. Leslie from Tasmania, Australia. Thanks for being here. All right. So just breathe, 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 breathe. All right. So let that softening happen physically. Just let your belly soften. Soon as you do this, soon as you stop holding the tension, your body can let more in. You can actually come to a higher frequency. You just did. Soon as you let go of the tension, you come into a higher frequency. Now, I know the tension makes you think you can have power, right? No, I can't let go of the tension because things aren't okay. Soften anyway. Soften anyway. What if my real power is in my embodiment? So just breathe here. What if the power comes through me when I let go instead of trying to control, fix, and change? What if the power comes through me when I let go? And what if that power is so infinitely beyond what I could do through force that I really can allow it to take care of everything? Okay, now I'm not saying inaction. I'm saying that when we soften, it fuels us into a different action, a different kind of power. And we'll do lots of things. Yes, 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 of course. But it will come from a different foundation. So we have to let go of the anger and the fear first. The only reason we act from anger is because we feel powerless. What will it create when we hold powerlessness? It will create more powerlessness. So what if we soften around the anger to actually go into the space of I am powerful. It's okay for me to let this go. If I ultimately already am whole and I already am power, I can let my actions come from a deeper space in me and let go of the fear, anger, and wrongness. So just breathe. So just feel what you feel in your body. And I want to hear, what do you feel when you do this? What do you feel in your body? What do you notice? You'll notice things you didn't notice before. Some of them you may like, some of them you may not like. Notice them anyway and presence your now. And I want to hear that. Paula said, any ideas for dealing with regret? I'm stuck in the choices I made before I was awakened. Yes. Forgive yourself. Because what you'll do in this practice we just did, you'll feel that regret. You might feel like, squeezing in your stomach, like, it's like you got punched in the belly. Who knows? You'll feel something. And when you breathe into that, you can let the energy release. And forgive yourself. We always, always, always do the best we can. Always. And you always have done the best you could. Can you make a new choice now? Could the choice you make now to be forgive yourself instead of hold the wrongness on you? Because you'll keep holding wrongness on others until you stop holding wrongness on yourself. So what if it's not wrong that you did that thing? What if that was exactly right because it showed you a new way? It showed you what got created when you did it that way. The choices you made before you were awakened showed you, now you have clarity. Oh, that's not what I want to choose. That's not what I want to create. Let me make a new choice. But you have clarity. Very different from someone telling you, you shouldn't do that. You should do this. And you're like, okay, I'm obedient and I'll let you think for me and I'll do what you're telling me. So therefore I choose this. But it's not from the clarity of what you know. Oh, wow, I'm going to choose this because I choose this. I'm going to choose this because I know it creates more for me. I'm going to choose this because I know it's what's really going to strengthen my freedom, my ability to be fully alive and vibrant and beautiful because I am connected with everyone. So therefore I make this choice. Very, very different. So let yourself have the playground of life to mess around, let it be messy, make the choices that bring you more clarity so you can make a new choice. Julie, how do you allow peace? I've been saying I can't be at peace until my ex talks to me and I apologize to him. Yeah, because you're forgiving yourself is conditional. If he talks to me, I'll forgive myself. If he talks to me, I can be resolved. It's conditional. What if you let it be unconditional? He may hold this on me till kingdom come. He may never forgive and he may make me wrong every day for the rest of his life. And I'll let him do that and refuse to make myself wrong under any circumstances. I refuse to get myself off the hook because I love myself and I choose love. That's how you love others. It's similar to surrendering to the present moment. It's exactly surrendering to the present moment because the present moment is the pain of not doing that, the pain of holding myself in wrongness. It's conditional. Hello, Bettina from Spain. Someone in Facebook, what's been tricky for me is getting to the co-creator stage. But then I start to blame myself for creating disease. Thank you for saying this. It's like I drop back down into the victim frequency. And I want to say we don't have to go through the stages in order. You can be like, I'm a victim. Oh, wait a minute. It's okay. I love myself as I am. And you're in that higher octave. But yeah, getting the co-creator stage. This is what happens, especially for me, being a doctor in medicine. And people are like, you're saying I created my fibromyalgia. You're saying that I'm at fault for the fact that I have chronic fatigue. Like, feel the wrongness in that. Oh my God. Of course I'm not saying that. Holy crap. No, because that would be blame, right? Why would it be blaming? Because I'm making it wrong. What if there's nothing wrong with the fact that what got created was illness? What if there's nothing wrong about it? It's what got created. Most of what we're creating is subconscious. So how could you make yourself wrong for something you didn't even know you were doing? You can't. So same thing with what Julie just asked. How can I allow peace if if it's conditional, make it unconditional. I forgive myself unconditionally for all the shit that I did when I didn't know what I was doing. Or maybe I knew what I was doing, but I wasn't strong enough to really choose what was clear. Okay, so I didn't have a choice. That was the best choice I could have made. Can I forgive myself? So, so in the co-creator stage, you have to be willing to let yourself make, quote, mistakes. You have to give yourself that generosity. I'm going to fumble around with this until I practice my way into it and it's smoother. Okay, so I'm like totally rocky at it, right? Oh, I'm creating this. Oh, I'm creating that. Wait, let me get more conscious. Got to give yourself freedom. It's okay to muck around until you figure it out. JP, most people don't understand that not fighting something doesn't mean you're not changing it in your own way. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, is when we come into the embodiment, we change fucking everything. I really don't like to use the F word unless it's absolutely necessary. So I'm really, really sorry about that. But sometimes it's like, oh, you just need that like depth of, so I apologize. But sometimes we're trying so hard to make a change. We don't realize we're in a foundation of powerlessness. We're in a foundation of fear. If you're acting out of anger, you're either in a foundation of fear or powerlessness, and you're trying to overcome that. So just pause. What's right about this I'm not getting. Soften your physical body. Let the breath happen. Remember, you put your hand on your heart. I am powerful, even if I'm not feeling it now. It's okay for me to feel what I feel. So we breathe. Just that alone will recenter us into a deeper space. Now, every word I say, every action I take, everything I do makes that difference, because I can't not be the embodiment of the 2% more peace I just embodied. I can't not create that. Your breath is creating, your cells are creating, your body is a creative transmitter. Your body is constantly sending out signals that change the matter of the world. Okay. Jacqueline, after 15 plus years of trying to fix chronic fatigue, I've finally gotten to the point of really accepting what is and being fully present in the moment. A work in progress, but I'm here. Yeah, and I found for me, when I accepted the severe heaviness and the chronic fatigue and the oppression of it, and just, and I just let myself breathe it, it would lift it instantly. I'm not saying the whole illness dissolved in one instant. I had to do that again and again and again. But each time it would dissolve and there'd be a lightness and there'd be energy. And then over, however much of practicing that, I didn't have any chronic fatigue anymore. All right. Where else? Is that the magnetism in that moment, leaning into the wrong thing and still accepting oneself for the choice? Yes. I wouldn't say magnetism, but that is the ignition. Cindy Diddy, did you just judge yourself for dropping the F-bomb? Yeah, I had awareness that it might be a little intense and that it might not have been completely necessary. So I'm just going to let myself off the hook. Thank you, Tuned In by Nature. Katie, how can I let others talk about the illness as wrong without buying into their point of view? Oh, easy. Feel what comes up in you, because it's going to come up in you that you're going to feel heavy if you do buy into their point of view. And then just remember, interesting point of view. Interesting point of view, that point of view. Huh, interesting. And like put the energy back on them. Oh, you really feel passionately about this. Wow, you really made a strong conclusion about how you see it. Just acknowledge. And you don't even have to necessarily reflect that back, but keep the energy on them because it's their energy they're speaking to. Thanks, Liam. Katerina. Oh, there we go. I did that one. Sari, I'm loving and connecting with every single word you're saying. So much wisdom. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it, because I do want to make clear that like when we presence and come into a higher frequency, we don't just do nothing. Well, I guess the world's going to be as it is, so I'll just be at peace. That's putting ice cream on top of poop. That's fake peace. It's conditional, right? It's a resignation. It's not the unconditional peace that frickin' changes the world, that moves the mountain. That's where I'm asking you to go. Amy, I've projected so much self-judgment onto myself for the past mistakes instead of embracing them as part of my path, which has kept me way too long in a story. Thank you for your words today. As usual, exactly what I needed to hear. Yes! Let this be the day that you choose to set yourself free unconditionally, that you choose, I get to be a free, fully valid and participating human being just for showing up with my perfections, with my imperfections, with all of my choices. And in this moment, because I choose to forgive myself, I already have more power. I already am more love. Because the truth is, you are love, but you can choose to not be that. And you can choose to like put a bunch of layers over it so your power doesn't show up in the world. Oh, thank you guys so much. P.S. Yay, you said, fuck, you're human. Oh, thanks, you guys. I love you guys too. I did connect with a friend this week who said that her niece, who is, I think like 16, has been tuning in. And I was so deeply touched and deeply inspired that she said it was like making a huge difference in her life and that she loved the work. And it really, really touched me because I can feel the difference, especially for like younger generation or people who are struggling, and how the world we've sold them, like, don't think for yourself, I'll think for you. Here's your success path. Go and study hard and get the right grades and then you'll be okay. Like how much of a farce that already is. And they feel the wrongness of it, but then they feel like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just me. Why am I so ridden with anxiety? We're trying to put them in this like pressure cooker of a educational program. Everybody's going to feel like miserable when they're in that. And so like, it's not what's wrong with you. How can you find your power so that you remember who you are? So I was really inspired to be able to touch lives of younger people as well, because God, I know what it was like for me to try to live in that world. And that was, I'm 47. So that was like a long time ago. And now today where things are so accelerated and the energy is so much higher, to try to live in that kind of world and that system of like my worth is in what I accomplish or my grades and my status or what college I go to. And like, that's just so unthinkably heavy. There are huge amounts of suicides happening just because of that. You do not need to participate in that. It is not who you are. It is not true. You can remember who you are and let yourself, you're going to create a new world where you're not alone. We are together. We are creating a world of truth, authenticity, a world that reflects who we really are. We're human. We all want love. We all want to be, connect. We want to connect with other people and know, that we make a difference, that we matter, that we are, beautiful. So there's nothing wrong with you if you're like missing that and feeling miserable because it's not showing up in the world. Let it show up in you. Liam, if we try to accept something as it is, but hope that the acceptance will change things, are we truly in acceptance? If we have an agenda, this is a great question. If we have an agenda, we actually limit what can get created. So if we truly accept it, yeah, it's conditional. I can still have a preference. I accept what is, but I would like it to work out that way, but I will accept it as it is. Then I'm actually creating some lightness. I'm actually allowing more to happen. So that's not the same as attachment. If you have an attachment, like, I'll accept what it is. Why isn't it changed yet? Why isn't it changed yet? I'll accept what it is. Wait a minute. When I accept it, it's supposed to go this way. That's attachment. That's one of the reasons I see so many people not heal when they use the tools I'm teaching in mind body medicine, when they use EFT meridian tapping, and they're like, I'm tapping and this is supposed to happen, but it's not. So I must be doing it wrong. What am I doing wrong? So whenever you find yourself saying, this didn't work, you're in attachment 100% of the time. So if you actually get into acceptance, you immediately feel lighter, not as a means to an end when the thing happened, but in the act of accepting. That is what allows the body to heal. That is what allows the body to heal everything so quickly. All right. I love you guys. I hope the cords of disappear. I don't really know what that means. Isabel, thank you for this clarification. The wisdom is shining brightly in these dark days. Yes, let yourself shine brightly in these dark days. We are ending the year. The solstice is Monday. I'm going to do an awesome yoga with one of my closest friends. Find a way to celebrate the dark days, because even a spark of light in this level of darkness is unthinkably powerful. So notice if you're in victimhood. Notice if you're in that second go-getter positivity. Notice, hey, if I'm in neutrality, wow, I'm really at peace. The thing I found that was the greatest power To stay in that space of neutrality was to be okay with not being in neutrality. Because as soon as I made it a goal, it was like, oh, I got to get back there. Well, now I'm resisting what is. So I have a few more minutes. So I'm actually going to share this. A few things that I call neutrality bumps that bump us out of that higher consciousness, the consciousness of I'm at peace with what is. I am love. I'm connected with all beings everywhere. It's okay to be in serenity now. Okay, what bumps me out of there is one, trying to get there because it's a better place. I got to be a better place than where I am, right? So when I'm like, oh, but I'm feeling so heavy, I'm not in neutrality. I should get into neutrality. Like, no. If I'm feeling heaviness, but I'm willing to feel that heaviness, there it is. I increase my frequency. I'm willing to feel what I feel, and I still feel heavy. I'm willing to feel what I feel. And let's get curious about this. Soften, physically soften the body. So that's the one thing, is trying to get to a better place than the one I'm in. Right? Doesn't that kick you in the butt every time? The second is thinking it's separate from where I am now. Oh, I'm here, but that is like a different thing, right? Now I'm here, but it's separate. I've got to somehow figure it out because it's not already now. Like, I know that kind of might be a little confusing, but if I'm in the now moment and I breathe into whatever is here, it's not separate from where I am now. It's always, always, always here. It's always, always now. It's not in the future when XYZ happens. It's not when I take that course, when I accomplish that thing, when I make more money, when I finally feel better physically. It's now. The next one is I have to improve myself or be positive in order to get there. No, don't think negatively. Be positive. Well, now I'm back in duality. So let go of the idea that it's a better thing. I've got to improve myself in order to be worthy of it. The next thing is trying harder. As soon as I start trying hard, I'm disrupting ease. So soften a little bit around that. You can only be where you are. You can't get somewhere. The next thing is thinking that the tools are the source of it. Right? So if I do some EFT and I'm like, wow, I feel so much lighter. Oh, I do see that it's actually okay. I can be in my power. I can free myself to be in total harmony and act in the way that's really organic for me. Right now, I'm like, oh, it's EFT. I got to do EFT. If we just all do EFT, then we'll all be okay. And I make it about the tool, right? Like, you got to let go of the canoe when you cross the river. So what is a tool for me in this moment? Maybe something not useful at all in the next moment, and vice versa. We think, oh, no, that thing is bad. It didn't work. It didn't do anything. But then there's another moment where that may be exactly the thing that will nurture you. So stay open. It's not about the canoe. It's about what is your moment calling for. The next thing is trying to control the process. So I want it to happen faster. I want it to be less rocky, and it's really rocky. Why is it so rocky? When we make that wrong, we muck up our energy. I see a lot of people doing this that I've assisted where, we think the path is supposed to look different. So then we decide that it's wrong and we can't be in flow with what is. This is really disrupted. So you don't need to control the process. The process is what the process is, and you can let it be as it is. And then the last one that I think may be the most important is I doubt that I'm really that powerful. I doubt that just embodying a higher frequency would actually change the world and do anything. I mean, I really do have to buckle down and fight and go after it, right? I doubt that it really will change anything. I doubt that it really will be enough. I doubt that with everything going on, well, I can do the neutrality thing later, but right now I really have to fight. I mean, we're all about to die, right? So we have doubt, skepticism, and fear. I will either follow doubt or I will follow love. When I follow doubt, I create more limitation. When I follow fear, I create more lack. When I follow truth, I always create more abundance. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We have, we'll meet every week on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain live. I am in YouTube at Dr. Kim Duramo. I'm in Facebook in the MindBody community. You can subscribe at drkimd.com. The book is still, I don't have a copy of it right here, do I? Nope. The book is still on offer, the MindBody Toolkit. If you go to Amazon or go to drkimd.com/book. We have, well, this is really a big piece of becoming adept at this embodiment. How can I be the embodiment of my true power? Instead of just understand it, talk about it, learn about it, and think about it, how can I actually ignite it so I'm in my power? I'm going to show you the book because I can. So MindBody Toolkit is available at drkimd.com/book. I highly recommend picking one up. It's 10 tools you can use anywhere at any time to ignite healing in you, to ignite healing, energy, power, and awakening. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'll put the link here. It's drkimd.com/book. And let me show you while I'm at it what I have here outside my home. We got snow. We have really, really beautiful. Is it coming? There we go. Beautiful, beautiful view of the mountains, the La Platas. It's not quite coming across, is it? Hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. I'll take a picture. This is too much light. We're really, really sunny here in Colorado. So thanks, you guys. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. All right, I'll leave you with that. Bye. Thank you, Sharon. I love the book. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Share this. Share this with others. I know that the world is awakening one day at a time, one moment at a time, and you are a part of that. Oh, thank you. The book, you and your book have changed my life. I love hearing about that. So the link is drkimd.com/book. I love you guys. Thank you for being with me today. Bye. Love you too.